Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, tensions increase after a failed Senate vote to pass the Women's Health Protection Act. And the U.S. has reached a grim milestone, 1 million COVID-19 related deaths.
Possibility for a few showers and storms looks to be with us as we head into the day tomorrow and into the weekend as well. I got the full details next at 5:30.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYNT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Huntsley. Female House Democrats staged a protest to show their disapproval of a Senate vote yesterday as the nation waits for a landmark ruling on the Roe versus Wade debate from the Supreme Court. CBS's Scott McFarland is in Washington.
No twists, no turns. It went nearly straight down party lines.
The motion is not agreed to.
The Senate blocked debate on a measure writing some federal abortion rights into law, with all Republicans.
Their extreme proposal goes way beyond codifying the status quo.
And West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin opposing.
We should not be dividing this country further than we're already divided.
Vice President Kamala Harris presided over the vote.
And this vote clearly suggests that the Senate is not where the majority of Americans are on this issue.
Inside, House Democrats crossed the Capitol chanting.
My decision.
And outside, so what do you do next?
Well, next we just start campaigning like crazy.
I think it needs to be a drumbeat.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says Democrats in his own party are not sounding the alarm loud enough leading into the midterm elections. His state of Illinois is now surrounded by 5 states that are set to restrict or completely end access to abortion if Roe versus Wade is struck down by the High Court, as anticipated.
We need to be talking about this, making sure that voters know about this from now through November, and frankly, as long as it takes.
As crowds continue to gather near some of the justices' homes, state and local law enforcement agencies are issuing awareness reports that demonstrations may become flashpoints for violence with little to no warning. The governors of Maryland and Virginia have asked the Justice Department to increase security at the homes of Supreme Court justices. Meanwhile, Saturday, abortion rights groups plan a rally at the Washington Monument just across the street from the White House to continue to make their voices heard. Scott McFarland, CBS News, Washington.
The Women's Health Protection Act of 2022 did not pass in the Senate, with the vote coming in at 49 to 51. A Georgia man is challenging the eligibility of more than 13,000 registered voters in his county. The challenge was filed yesterday with county election officials. The man said when he compared the county's voter rolls with the U.S. Postal Service's National Change of Address database, he found that 13,609 had an address that was different than the one listed on their voter registration. Georgia law empowers any voter in a county or municipality to challenge the qualifications of anyone else on the voter rolls. The identity of a 5-year-old is still unknown nearly 4 weeks after his body was found zipped up in a suitcase in a wooded area in Washington County, Indiana. The boy is described as slim, about 4 feet tall, with a short haircut. He was found in a closed hard-shell suitcase printed with "Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada" on it. Officials are still waiting on toxicology tests that could shed some more light as to what, if anything, was in his system at the time of death. Investigators are still asking for any help from the public. The flag at the White House is at half-staff in honor of the 1 million lives lost to COVID-19 in the United States. Governor Beshear also directed that flags at all state office buildings be lowered to half-staff. More than 15,700 Kentuckians have been lost to the virus. In recorded remarks to a virtual global COVID summit, President Biden announced the U.S. is sharing vaccine science that could help increase global production.
We're making available health technologies that are owned by the United States government.
Ahead of an expected COVID surge this fall or winter, President Biden is urging Congress to approve billions of dollars more in coronavirus funding for testing, vaccines, and treatments. That funding has been caught up in a political fight over immigration policy, with Republican lawmakers pushing to extend the Trump-era health rule preventing migrants from seeking asylum during the pandemic. North Korea is declaring a major national emergency after identifying what it claims is its first ever case of COVID-19. State media says Kim Jong-un has ordered a lockdown of all cities in the country after the Omicron variant was detected in the North Korean capital, Pyongyang. North Korea is one of only 2 countries in the world that has not administered vaccinations.
Well, gorgeous conditions continue in the mountains as we work through the evening hours, and that belies our next chance, though, of rain heading our way as soon as tomorrow. For tonight, though, all quiet. US 119 camera at Pine Mountain. It's all a quiet one out there as we continue to see just a little bit of sunshine working on through. Some high clouds trying to sneak into our camera at the London Corbin Airport, at least the view there, but otherwise in pretty good shape. Low 80s right now. Temperatures around the region. Most of us in the low to mid 80s this afternoon. Warmer spots including Middlesboro, Monticello, Somerset, and Manchester. Look at Williamson, though. Williamson, West Virginia, one of our warmer spots, consistently sitting at 89 right now. But the good news is those dew points are in the 50s, so it's not a particularly muggy It's not a particularly muggy afternoon out there, but we are seeing some warm conditions. Clean sweep on Pinpoint Doppler, but we look out to the east and the west, and we see rainfall on the way. So keep that WYMT weather app handy. You scroll through it tonight, you'll see our forecast taking you through the 70s throughout the evening hours, looking fantastic before waking up in the upper 50s in the morning. I'll have the latest on when we could see some of those showers and storms returning coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. A group of nurses lined the steps of the Kentucky state capitol today. They are calling for change in their field after 2 long years of hospitals being overwhelmed with COVID patients. Their demonstration is part of a national movement. Hundreds of healthcare workers gathered in D.C. as well today. Shelby Lofton shows us what the Kentucky nurses are advocating for.
Patient-to-staff ratios are one of the issues these nurses say plagues their profession.
Nurses are leaving, they're finding other professions.
They're asking for higher pay and help at the federal level.
You have to have this many nurses to this many patients to be safe.
Signs read, punish violence.
I was assaulted a couple years ago at work, and basically, whoever, if you press charges, they usually don't show up. Nothing's usually done about it.
Back in December, Governor Andy Beshear declared a state of emergency because of the nursing shortage. He and others said a lot more people need to go into the profession to care for all of Kentucky's patients.
Allowing more into the schools is not the only issue. You have strong, well-educated nurses with master's degrees and bachelor's degrees who are the ones who are going to teach these new nurses.
Demonstrators say those senior nurses are getting hurt on the job.
When you go to turn a patient, a lot of times, sometimes it takes 4 nurses, 4 people, and we don't have them.
They said mistakes happen.
To pull out a medicine that sounds alike, looks alike another one by accident because you're having such a stressful day, you know, too many patients, too many people wanting too many things.
They said if they had better staffing and workplace safety procedures, they would occur less frequently.
Nurses have been fighting this fight for 30 plus years.
This group says they fight because they love what they do. They're asking for tools to give the proper care. At the Capitol, Shelby Lofton, WYMT Mountain News.
Participants in marches today nationwide said they want the federal government to pass the Safe Staffing Act as well as the Workplace Violence Act. And it is also National Nurses Week, and as we mentioned, hundreds of them marched in Washington, D.C. to make their voices heard. Organizers say the goal is to promote nurse unity and increase awareness on a range of issues, including fair wages without salary caps, an end to violence and discrimination against health workers, and safe nurse-to-patient ratios. Fire crews in Southern California are battling a stubborn wildfire still burning out of control south of Los Angeles. Fueled by cool ocean winds, the coastal fire started Wednesday afternoon as a small brush fire. 2 hours later, it erupted into a nearly 200-acre inferno.
Our fuel moistures right now are very low, which basically means that when a fire starts, it'll get established very rapidly. Throwing some wind on that and the terrain, the steepness of it, was a bad recipe.
Crews are attacking the fire from the air and on the ground. The cause of the fire is under investigation, but the local power company, Southern California Edison, has advised state officials that there was unspecified circuit activity in the area around the time the fire started. Scientists have spotted more trouble for the Great Barrier Reef, the world's largest coral ecosystem. New findings show climate change is robbing the reef of its color. Scientists surveying the underwater ecosystem found 91% of the areas they visited this year experienced bleaching. Scientists blame a prolonged summer heat wave and warming waters from climate change. It is the fourth mass bleaching that has hit the world's largest coral reef system in 7 years. The Louisville Zoo's Butterflies and Blooms exhibit opens Saturday. Visitors will be able to walk amongst hundreds of native butterflies, sipping nectar from colorful flowers in a 1,000 square foot outdoor flight house. Inside the exhibit, guests can learn about and witness the life cycle of the butterfly, beginning as a caterpillar. The seasonal exhibit is free with zoo admission. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, your credit score is key to your financial success, but did you know it could also help you catch unknown issues on your credit report? We have ways to protect your financial health.
But first, a summer-like weather pattern is on the way as we head into the end of the work week. The latest on when showers and storms could move in. Coming up.